It may be hard to believe, but Egypt was not primitive as you might think, but a civilization that used advanced technology. I explained this. We don't yet know what lies beneath the deserts. There is little data about the former grandeur of the submerged Heracleion, so do some research. I think that Egypt is the continuation of the Sumerians because there is a slave-master system in both civilizations. In time, it will be revealed that all religious characters actually belong to the Egyptian civilization. There were some articles published at one time about Akhenaten and Ibrahim being the same person. In the verses of Enem 74-79, Abraham makes some comparisons while searching for God. First he thinks the star is God, then the moon, then the sun, and finally he says that there must be a power that created all of these, and he tries to discover that power. In addition, most Egyptian hieroglyphs attempt to depict Akhenaten with a burning lamp and light just above him. The snake symbol under these lamps bulbs probably also belongs to Lucifer. Lucifer, the god who brings light. I interpreted this as the sun in my other videos, but I think the definition of an electric lamp is more appropriate. Because in this drawing, I think the lights of the torches in front of the figure are similar to the light just above, and the hands at the end of the lamp's light could have been drawn to explain that light can reach everywhere. So it wouldn't be wrong to say that he was the Tesla of his time. Of course, for some, the idea that electricity was used in ancient Egypt may seem like a utopian tale. However, I am absolutely certain that there are traces of electricity not only in Dendera but also in pyramids and other structures that have not yet been unearthed. In fact, ancient Egypt has not been completely, independently deciphered. For example, no one yet knows what kind of mysteries the Gantenbrink Gate in the Great Pyramid holds behind it. Since ordinary people at that time did not know what was going on behind closed doors, they could not find a suitable name for this energy, electricity, and it came to be known as God Spirit. History books say that the Egyptian priests and the pharaohs were not on good terms. The priests may have caused a rebellion, internal uprising, by not accepting the transition from polytheistic religions to monotheistic religions. Religious struggles may have reached their peak due to the pressure from Kabbalists and mystics, and Egypt may have entered a period of collapse. If what is behind the Gantenbrink Door in the Great Pyramid is open to the public and it is clarified exactly which pharaoh's time this Dendera Light was built, my thesis will be 100% confirmed. Perhaps when electricity began to be used for evil purposes, global chaos ensued. I have said before, whoever controls electricity controls the world. Since superior minds such as Zeus, Odin, Thor, Keke etc. controlled electricity, they became known as gods and instilled fear in ordinary people. When we were little, if we committed a religious crime, they would say, "God will strike us." In my opinion, this was not a simple statement that came about spontaneously. Perhaps centuries ago, perhaps millennia ago, such a scene must have occurred, and it has remained in our minds. In the past, pitch torches and olive oil lamps were used, or so we were told. However, I remember that gas lamps were used about half a century ago. Once they put electricity at the service of capitalism, there was no point in hiding this power anymore. Well, maybe that's why they said, "There will be no other prophet." It could have been a phrase meant to make people stop pursuing this mysterious power and direct their attention elsewhere. When the story is examined in this way, the patterns seem to fall into place. While the Quran mentions an oil lamp in an interesting way for God, i.e. electricity, in the 35th verse of the surah in Nur, it also gives an example of another light at the end of the verse. Nuran ala nur, light upon light, he says. In other words, a stronger light than the previous light or a larger light source. I mentioned before that the Quran describes the Egyptian civilization. It is no coincidence that all the holy books emerged during the time of the Egyptian civilization and in the same geography. Probably, history was conveyed to us differently on purpose. My guess is that free wireless electricity was used at that time. No traces of torches soot have been found in some ancient Egyptian structures and inside the pyramids. As a result, he disappeared in the vastness of Egypt, but he left behind many clues. Now I am waiting patiently for the real information to come out in full, and it is.